Hey, what's up, everybody? So get this. After those 6 days of fasting and reading John chapter 2, verses 1 through 12, and getting different, fresh revelation each day, at the end of the 6 days, I was on fire, just in awe of God and His Word. And He led me to go a little bit longer. So I fasted an additional 4 days and went for leftovers. You know, when Jesus performed His miracle, when He fed the 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish, and after they ate, there was leftovers. So that's what kind of dropped in my spirit after the 6 days. Like, we got leftovers. God's word never stops giving. So I continued reading, but this time it was in John chapter 11, and I went on for an additional 4 days reading the same scriptures over each day for 4 days in John chapter 11. So I plan to come back for 4 more days. I guess that's 8. 4 more days to share with you all what the Lord shared with me during those 4 days. So see you soon. Bye. Okay, so on the 3rd day of reading John chapter 11, verses 1 through 44, the 2 verses that were highlighted to me that day were verses 15 and verse 32. For those who are not aware of what's happening in John chapter 11 in these verses, this is where a man named Lazarus grew sick and he actually died, but Jesus rose him from the dead. That was another miracle that was done by Jesus. So verse 15 says, "And I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, that you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go to him." Now I'm hopping down to verse 32. "Then when Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, 'Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died.'" So what I started getting from this was that God is going to get the glory from other people from what He does in your life. Thinking about Lazarus, his sisters who were very close to him, Mary and Martha. The focus kind of started happening around Mary here. Mary, she was the one that was sitting at the feet of Jesus, and she was in awe of him. While Martha labored away in the kitchen. Jesus came to Mary and Martha's house. Martha was in the kitchen. She was thinking, oh my gosh, Jesus is here. Let me go whip up some good food in the kitchen. And Mary didn't even help Martha. She sat at Jesus's feet, and Martha felt some type of way about that. She's like, "Jesus, you're not going to tell Mary to come help me out in the kitchen here?" And Jesus basically responds to Martha and says, "Mary has chosen the good thing, and I'm not going to take that away from her." Mary was more concerned with gleaning from Jesus, sitting at his feet, spending time with him, that intimacy. And Jesus was saying that she chose the better part. Nothing wrong with, Martha showing that hospitality and wanting to serve, but Mary chose a good thing. And so, Mary was the one who sat at Jesus's feet. And then she was so deeply wounded and hurt that when word came around that Jesus was coming back, Jesus was out with his disciples and heard that Lazarus was sick. He stayed in an additional 2 days where he was on purpose, intentionally. That was in the previous episode. And then when he came into town where Lazarus was, once he had died, Martha and Mary got word that Jesus was in town. Martha ends up leaving the house right away to go to where Jesus is. Mary, she didn't leave. She didn't want no parts with Jesus, basically. So Martha immediately went to meet him, but Mary stayed sitting in the house. She was paralyzed in her pain. So when she finally comes out, she does finally leave the house and come to Jesus. She finds herself back at the feet of Jesus, but for a different reason. At one time, she was at the feet of Jesus in awe of him. Now she's back in the same place at the feet of Jesus, but in her deepest pain. So Mary is unaware that the place of her deepest pain positioned her to witness her biggest and deepest miracle. He will never leave you in your pain without purpose. So as hard as that may be to grasp, life is going to throw some hands sometimes. A lot of the times we're all going to grieve at some point in our lives. We're all going to experience some type of pain. Jesus himself says, in this life you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So yeah, there's no way of getting around that. None of us are exempt from it, but we do have the promise that Jesus will go through it with us. And here's Mary, she's brokenhearted. She doesn't understand why Jesus would let something like this happen. So yeah, the place where she sat in awe of Jesus, of just who he is and that intimate relationship they had, now she's back at the same place, but in deep pain, basically blaming Jesus. What? Like, she blames Jesus for the death of her brother. So when I said that God is going to get the glory from others for what he does in your life, this is just a comparison, an analogy. What God may do in your life is it's going to be so big that there's going to be no way around it. It's going to be a God thing. There's going to be no explanation for the thing that God does in your life. He only will get the credit, and it's going to affect other people's lives, those closest to you. The people who are closest to you will be affected by what God does in your life. I think that's a beautiful thing. And if you maybe in a season of your life feel like you can compare yourself more to Mary's situation, where she was at the foot of Jesus and at the feet of Jesus and all of him, and then back at the feet of him in pain because somebody who she loved deeply died. Something happened to someone she loved very much. It all worked out in the end for her. So either way is a win-win. I know it sounds a little crazy, but all things work together for the good of those who love God. So we know the ending of this story. Lazarus is in fact raised from the dead, and of course Mary is happy about that. So no matter what, position yourself at the feet of Jesus. Position yourself at the foot of the cross, no matter what, and it will all work together for your good. I truly believe that. So please pray for me. I will continue to pray for you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.